Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Good afternoon everybody, Militiaman and Crew. It's Sunday. I hope everybody's had a good day with family, friends, and just a little bit of relaxation, whatever you'd like to do. I hope it turned out really nice. Listen, Prime Minister's directives support the development of the electronic payment systems. Here on the September 14th was yesterday, the International Smart Card, the K company, described the directives of the Prime Minister, Shia al-Sudani, to develop the reality of the electronic payment in the tasks of Iraq. So obviously we already know that they've been doing this for quite a long time. It says a source says that the Prime Minister's directives come with the aim of improving performance in government institutions and benefiting from electronic payment within the private sector path. So getting the government and the private sector merged together with electronic payments, etc., is going to be a big issue. So the path to that private sector is what? Through electronic payments. The government institutions and capital markets basically will use the electronic systems to facilitate their work. I think you guys can all figure that out. What are they going to be doing? They're going to be doing their work in a more transparent manner as they have in the past. So what does that do? It tells you right out the gate. They're going to reduce corruption. They're going to have speed, efficiency, and transparency. So they're working on that still to this day. And obviously what was the motivation for the private sector is for Iraq to go international. So here's the Al Nask Bank organizes a workshop on financial inclusion, electronic payments, money laundering. Okay, they're basically, as you know, that this is going to be an ongoing thing, but now it's almost like you can get this feel of it's like showtime, because they're really doing the development of the reality of the financial inclusion, and they're spreading that financial culture around the country. So it hasn't been something that just got started yesterday. It's been ongoing for years, but it's coming to the growth stage where that they have saturation levels with their national cards, their debit cards, their electronic cards, if you will. Some people have 2 or 3 of them now when they didn't have them in the past. So they're going to electronic system where less cash is what their focus is, and you can see that they've been taking probably currency out of the system, because if they're going digital, eventually they're probably going to have a need for less cash because they're not going to have to reprint it all the time. Damaged notes cost money, it's a savings. So we'll see how this turns out. Will they still have cash? They never said they were going to get rid of it, so of course. A workshop was hosted by some seminars in a conference hall at the Islamic Nask Bank for Investment and Finance. It comes based on the directives in the Central Bank of Iraq, so they're directing it, and what they're saying is that they have importance, that they mentioned topics, education, raising awareness to who? The largest segment of citizens in Iraq, in light of the government trends in supporting the culture of electronic payments and expanding its use in delivering financial services to again, the largest segment of the society, as well as introducing the importance of combating money laundering and terrorist financing, and telling the people probably why it's important. So obviously there's a push to get full saturation to all the people using an education as a tool to get with people to use less cash. So that's an interesting segment. Interesting segment of society is always usually the largest. So it's good that they're doing it. The Prime Minister's support for the private sector is a necessity, is another article in our Patreon room at patreon.com/MMAND crew. So come on in, check it out. We have a vibrant Discord chat room full of news. All the news basically gets filtered through there, and then I have the ability to come in and take some of that stuff and put it out on the Patreon. And then I can even do it. I can do that privately. I can do it publicly. I can do it however I feel is necessary to get the information out to you all. So I hope you guys appreciate that and enjoy it. Al-Qassab, the private sector, urgently needs to evaluate its efforts, especially after it's proven its presence as being important, and because of the projects in various regions of the country. So they're basically saturating all the region of Iraq. She points out that the capabilities of the private sector are constantly evolving and have important technology that shortens time and effort. I focused in on the important technology that shortens time and effort. That reeks of blockchain. It just really does, because the fact is that there are systems out there that they will integrate into Iraq's model, if you will, that are fast, furious, transparent, and state-of-the-art. And blockchain fits that mold, so we'll see which companies they're talking about. I have some ideas, but we'll wait and see what they decide to share with us. This specialist basically alludes to these new technologies that shorten the time and effort of the capabilities of the private sector, and basically Iraq is going into what? It looks to me like they're going to a digital transformation revolution. If you read the news, you're going to see that that's probably holding true. This article is kind of interesting too, because it says the development road will pass through 12 Iraqi governments that will transfer Iraq to the world, right? So you know that basically the Port of Fa all the way into the north and up to Turkey, that's going to pass right through there. They're going to build industrial cities along the road. The road looks like it's already amazingly clean and ready to go. Al-Sudani basically, he said he launched the project, specifically launched it back in April. So he's been underway for quite some time. The economic expert Abdul Rahman Shekeli said that the development path will pass through 12 governments, of course, and they have great investment opportunities. Well, no doubt. The development road will move Iraq from the regional situation to the global situation. You see where that's headed? Well, you're going to go to a global situation, right? You're going to have an international currency to do so. And so here we go. As it will pass through those 12 governments, and we'll have great investment opportunities. So that to me it's telling you just like it is. They're going to have a regional and global situation. The stability of the security situation reflects the extent of the interest in the future and the increase in investment opportunities. So security and stability is a big thing. Their opportunities are pointing to the change of the economic system, obviously since 2005, to the market system. That's going to be the private sector. They're going to go away from just oil. They're going to use non-oil revenues. I think everybody kind of gets that. The system must turn from the rentee economy to a product. In other words, get away from oil and go to products and start moving those products through where? Likely through the World Trade Organization and through the ICE-CUTA system at the borders, taxes and tariffs, going in and out of that country from the Port of Fa. It's going to be one of the largest in the Middle East, saving time, money for transport, all the way into Europe and beyond. So I think it's pretty good. The Development Road Project is basically opening up Iraq to the region and into the international world. And the private sector is going to be that main driving force. Small, medium enterprises are usually a backbone of any good quality economy. And as you can see, that's already getting started. So they're going to have to expose an exchange rate at some point in time, sooner than later. I'm going to go with sooner. The number of electronic payments points in Iraq increased from 7,000 to 30,000. I really believe that I think that I've read within the last couple of weeks that they're probably more like 50,000. But anyway, this particular article says 30. I'll leave it at that. It's a huge jump from 7 to 30. That's 4 to 5 fold. It says the Central Bank of Iraq is currently working on a major plan to reform the banking sector in general, whether the governmental or private. So again, they're talking about both a mix of the government and the private sector. The focus in the next stage will be developing and improving the services to strengthen the Iraqi banking sector, protect depositors, that sounds like insurance, money, and develop the electronic payment system. Obviously, it's the point of sale systems, electronics, which contributes significantly to reducing the risks of using cash, like I talked about at the beginning, whether from damage, saves on money, or forgery, saves on corruption, as well as protecting the financial system from money laundering and financing terrorism. All of those things are actually international laws. And so what does that tell you? If Iraq's becoming involved in maintaining a system that abides by international law, obviously they're going to have to accept those obligations, and sounds to me like they probably would have to also accept the obligations of being Article 8 compliance. So let's see what they have to say about that. Article 8 with the IMF, everybody. Let's hope and see if they come out and say it. They don't have to tell you that, but I think they can tell you that by action. Okay, so but you'd have to do your own study and check out the IMF's website and look and see how that works. But I'm fairly sure I've read it a few times, and I think I'm right. They've increased from 7,000 payments to 30,000 payment points. They have the ability for a total transfer of funds electronically. And they did, what did they do? They did about 2 trillion Iraqi dinars this last month alone. They've opened up from 50 government institutions. They went to electronic payment windows. They've now exceeded 600 payment windows for the government. So obviously you can see how, again, there's just amazing amount of increase in saturation. Regarding transferring money abroad, this gentleman explains that the issue is related to personal transfers. There are specific outlets and or ceilings for these transfers. In other words, they're monitoring how much money goes out for legitimate purposes. If you're going to buy foreign currency, you're only going to be able to get their price limit, your limit in value. So I don't know. I think it's international is what, $10,000 US equivalency, something to that effect. It says Iraq trades more than 2 trillion dinars electronically in a month. The value of electronic trading in the past month of August exceeds now the 2 trillion that they talk about. It says the amount was transferred and traded using those electronic payment systems. And again, they're talking about the 30,000 devices and the electronic points of sale. Their aim was to enhance the use of electronic payment in Iraq to what? Facilitate financial and commercial operations. So right there is a key indicator that they're going international, because if you're going to facilitate financial and commercial operations in the dinar, you're not going to do that at 1,310. They can't afford it. They don't have it. It's not going to work. So anyway, that's my opinion of it. Revealing the important files resolved the federal government delegation during its visit to the region. Headline's kind of crazy, you guys. But anyway, it says basically here, the most important files that Iraq was dealing with the Kurds, etc. It says they were resolved by the federal government delegation during its visit to the region. So Baghdad and Kurdistan had meetings, as you all know. It says the most important files were resolved. That means they're on the same page and they're good to go. That's how I see it. When you have resolved something, means it's done. Okay. All right. So it says the most important file was the customs issue, and that main point was agreed upon, so done, which is the customs tariff from Basra to Zakau, and it will be one tariff. So they have a meeting of that. It says they have it done according to. It says the visit decided the region's revenues from ports and taxes because of the use of Article 114. Half of the revenues go to the federal government, and this is what has happened. Again, resolution. They're pointing out the unification and equality of salaries between employees in the region and federal government was discussed. Basically, they talked about the oil file. I think that's going to be somewhat on standby because they're going to need an international acceptable exchange rate to do that valuation to field what is necessary and equitably, in my view. It says Taif Sami in her discussions with the Kurdistan officials and the Kurdistan government during her visit, it says the Ministry of Finance asked the regional government to cooperate with it and provided accurate information about the size of revenues and financial returns, as well as the tax rate, as well as providing the Ministry of Finance with complete information from the security services and their numbers in full, and not to appoint any employee except that with the approval of the Federal Ministry of Finance. So that's a lot, but sounds like they agreed upon that. Sammy also requested the removal of similar and repeated names that receive more than one salary, especially from security personnel who receive social welfare salaries or from the Political Prisoners Foundation. So they've finished that, so they probably came to an agreement like, well, if we're going to be using a blockchain type ledger, you probably can't have those names, and you probably got to scratch those out because they're not going to match. They're not going to work. Tape Sammy confirms this last Sunday with the Economic Council of Kurdistan Region. They discussed these joint files in order to reach solutions to the financial issues related to the parties. I think that's a reiteration. It says the talks represent a historic opportunity to achieve financial reconciliation between the federal government and the Kurdistan region. And again, if it's done, they've reached financial reconciliation. The importance of enhancing financial cooperation between the two parties and reaching sustainable solutions to outstanding financial issues. I'm sure that's key importance, but here again, they said it's already done. You kind of get the picture, right? I think you do. Agreeing on a fair mechanism for distributing oil revenues and border crossings will contribute to enhancing confidence and economic stability in the country. So if they're going to do this, it sounds to me like if they're doing it or going to be doing it, they've agreed to being Article 8 compliant. Therefore, they can move money and in dinars and do commercial business with their own currency internationally. That would mean to me, if that's the case, and that's what they're saying, because it sure sounds like it, that they're going to be moving towards the Forex at some point in time, which is an international market. So we're watching for that. The Kurdistan Regional Government website, Barzani stresses that the meeting, basically the necessity for the federal government to treat all parties of Iraq fairly, and so to be a government for all regions and provinces. And just as it defends the rights of citizens of Basra and Baghdad, it must equally defend the rights of the citizens of Kurdistan region as well. My views, I feel that they had good meetings. They gained serious traction in their resolutions. They resolved things, all these different issues that we just talked about. Now we watch for the results of the meetings to take place. So now we watch for their actions, and we watch for them to show their people their constitutional rights. Do I believe they will be doing so? I do believe they will be doing so. I think it's time. I think they've probably run out of time. So I'm patient, just like everybody else has been. Obviously, we all want the same thing. We want to see a prosperous Iraq, but we also want to see our investment come to fruition, because, hey, we've been around for a long time. We have had patience. We've studied it. I think we understand it, and then we'll keep doing that until the time comes, okay? But thank you for being with us. I appreciate everybody being here, and thank you all for your support. It really does help keep Patreon and the community Discord running smoothly, and it helps keep the lights on. You guys have heard that old saying, right? Okay, but anyway, thank you for being with us, and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you appreciate that. And obviously, as you guys all know, we have PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo to keep those lights on. So thank you so much. You have a great day. Bye-bye. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content, subscribe to the channel, or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much, and have a great day.